It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
Live.
All right, we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode 147, the event where we talk about RYS. You knew it was coming, so we're going to talk to you some more about it. Now, we're really excited. We've had some really good feedback so far, and Hernan and Bradley whipped up a quick little contest that we wanted to get going, as well as one to obviously spread, the news about RYS. We're small. We understand a lot of people don't hear about us, and so we're trying to get the word out. Hernan, you want to tell people what's going on Facebook?
Sure. Yeah, we had a little contest over there. We're gonna drop the URL for the free Facebook group. You can win an Amazon gift card for $250. That is kind of to say thank you guys for the amazing support that we have been having for RYS Academy. It's been mind blowing. A lot of people join, and a lot of people are already working on it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're gonna drop the link over there on the events page. So.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, so pay attention, click the link, read it. All you got to do is a quick share, tag some people, and then we'll put you in the winning for, I think it's $250, right?
Yep.
Right? Nice. All right, so I'm going to go enter after we get done with Hump Day Hangouts, and you should too. Let's see, on the other end of things, we had obviously a lot of questions. It's a big launch. People are wondering what's going on. They've heard about RYS. They've heard about RYS Reloaded. And we know a lot of people see the price and you wonder, is this a training that's going to, help you do what it is you want to do? And we get that. So this is the place. Obviously, Hump Day Hangouts is a great place to ask this. Also, the Facebook group, which Hernan will also post the link to. It's the same one. Our free group that you can go and join and ask us questions. If you want to know if this is for you, we want to make sure, obviously, the people who join RYS Reloaded are the people who are going to put it to use. But if you're, on the fence, you're thinking, damn, I'd like to get some good rankings. I'd like to do it quick, whatever it is you're thinking about, just let us know. Obviously we're here, we're real people. These aren't robots. We'll talk to you and let you know whether or not this is a good fit for you. But on that note too, I think, Marco, we had some questions from people, right? That you had some answers to?
Yeah, I believe so. Let me just see. Someone wanted to know how RYS and drive stacks and whatever it is that we're doing would affect a big established site, right, with traffic and many keywords, but a site that wants to grow. And I mean, the best thing about this is that the site already has trust. And what we borrow from in RYS Academy is Google's trust. So they'd be pushing trust back and forth and growing that trust into the drive stack, and then it would simply be targeting the keywords, just targeting other keyword targets, so to speak, so that they could grow the website, more traffic, and even better rankings. I mean, if you have keywords that are harder to push up, you could push them up and get more traffic that way. And so it's all about trust. It's all about authority. It's all about building it up so that you can rank things faster, better, and longer, because RYS rankings tend to stick. And when they hit that first page, and they tend to stay, and they stay for a long time. Now, the second question that I have is, who is the creator of RYS Academy? I am not going to take full credit for that. I mean, the theory, the concept is mine. I didn't invent SEO, guys. I won't take credit for it. I'm not, I can't do that. I didn't invent Google. I didn't invent Drive. I didn't invent ranking with Drive stacks or anything like that. What I did is, when I saw what Dr. Gary was doing in our mastermind, he's my co-conspirator for the original RYS Academy, was and is a mastermind member, whom I saw was doing just some nasty things and finding all of these incredible things in Google. And I started thinking, well, how do I put this together? What can we do with this? I pulled him in. We had the talk. We started meeting on Saturdays, and about 7 months later, RYS Academy was born. So who is the creator? I am one of the originators. What is it that they say? Often imitated, never duplicated. And my partner in crime is Dr. Gary Kerwin.
Awesome.
Outstanding. And I think also, so we had talked about this earlier last week. I think people had heard about this, that, well, at least for the existing RYS Academy members, so people who had joined from 2015 up to now, who have been put in RYS Academy to work and wanted to give us a quick video review, we were going to give away complete done-for-you RYS stack courtesy of SerpSpace. And so I think we had talked about this. Do we have a winner or a best of for those?
Yeah. I think that the one that really explains the concept really simple. And we should drop the playlist, by the way, so that people can go look at actual people who are members of RYS Academy and RYS Reloaded, just doing what it is that they're doing. So Andrew Adair, he's one of our members. He's in Australia, and I think that his video exemplifies the simplicity of RYS Academy. And so I think for that reason, he should get that awesome drive stack.
Awesome. All right. So Andrew, if you're listening, shoot us an email, or if we don't hear from you first, we'll be sending one out after this.
He's in Australia, so he's not listening right now.
Well, you never know. He might be up to, what is it, like 16 hours? So you never know. We'll see. But yeah, we'll be in touch, buddy. And so I think Hernan's going to drop the link in there. And check those out if you're on the fence. If you want to hear what other people have accomplished, again, these are people, you know, who joined and got results on their own based on the training and the help. So this isn't, you know, these aren't people who are profiting from this. They, you know, they used RYS and made their own results. So other than that, I think, Hernan, you've got the links in there for Facebook, right? We're good to go on that.
Yeah, I got the Facebook link, and we will put the link for RYS for the sales page and the coupon, which is an $800 off coupon, and that coupon expires tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern. Okay, so if you're watching this right now live, you can go take action now. If you're not, and if you try that coupon, I'm sorry, but that's the way we have it set up. So yeah, we're gonna drop the coupon and the URL so that you guys can join RYS Reloaded right now for that discount, which is the second lowest discount that we will do for that.
What's it going to tomorrow after the discount, or this coupon expires?
1,500.
1,500. So it's going up $300 essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on a second. Tell them where it's going to end up, please.
3,000. It's going to end up at 3,000 after the launch is over. So again, now's the best time to get in. We will offer a split pay option, I believe, after the launch. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah, we will do that, and we mean it. You know, if you got questions, if you're on the fence, I know there's a lot of people who watch Hump Day Hangouts and who don't say anything, and that's cool. Like, I mean, I do that with different areas where I'm learning or watching stuff. But I mean, if you're out there and you're thinking about this, like, man, is RYS for me? I've heard about it. You know, I want these results. Pop into the Facebook group, Hernan posted. Hey, you know, post a question. We'll get back to you tonight, you know, and help you out so you can make the choice before the price goes up. I mean, we're here to help. So we think it's a good course. We know it's a good course. The students know it's a good course and training. So we want you to make the right choice too.
It's super damn valuable, and that's why you know, it really is. We're trying to keep it to where, you know, it's not it doesn't become a saturated technique. So that's in part why we're asking for that kind of money for it, and because there's been 3 years in development now, so it's totally worth it.
Yeah, well, that and the results you can get, I mean, it literally pays for itself. It's not, you know, you're not signing $5 contracts with this stuff. So, all right.
Also, it's going to be, sorry, Anna, but it's going to be an ongoing training, right? So we have a bunch of material in there already. There's all the archives, the new stuff, the Facebook group, but also Marco's going to be doing upcoming webinars, and there's going to be live Q&A. So we have been supporting RYS Academy for the past 2 years for a one-time fee, right? So, you know, the guys that you have been following, you know, everyone that has been following us for a while, you know, that we deliver, that we support our products, that we always try to over deliver and make them better. And, you know, we try to keep up and to be out there in the trenches testing stuff, so you don't have to go out there and chasing every shiny object, which we we had some testimonials, sorry, about people that have been spending anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000 on software that doesn't work, and once they got into ROAS, they cut it, you know, immediately, because you forget about PBNs, you forget about proxies, VPSs, all of that, those kind of things that not only takes time but money. So anyways, that's what I wanted to say also. So you're actually saving money, and yeah, I agree with Adam. You can nail some really juicy contracts with this.
Sweet.
Cool. All right, you guys got anything else?
Nope.
All right, well, sweet. I'm looking here first too. This is awesome. So Columbia is the first person up, so I'm pretty pumped. She's usually got some good questions. So let's get rolling.
I had a Skype chat with her yesterday for a phone call with her, and just because she's always coming to our Hump Day Hangouts and engaging and participating, and so I gave her about 20 minutes of time just to chat with her, and it was nice meeting her. She's out there taking action every week from the stuff that she learns right here, and she's growing her business, which is amazing, guys, just from free information that she's getting from the Hump Day Hangouts, which is awesome. So, all right, with that, I'm going to grab the screen and we're going to get into this. All right, so Columbia says, I suddenly discovered about 4 weeks ago that an old .com has had a renegade page since 2010. Wow. It did not appear on my list of pages in the admin area for the site. Yeah, I'm sure it was a hacked-in link. That happens often, Columbia, or at least I've had it happen a lot. It was called Freebooks, and it seemed to be offering a wide variety of books, mostly or all in French. The best fix as of yesterday was to have /freebooks redirected to my homepage. Unfortunately, all the Google listings have more info after the / all of those, which is all of them, are currently showing a 404 error. That was the best we could come up with after extensive hypothesizing, analyzing, and testing. I worry that Google will have issues with all those 404s, and there could be 200 or so of them since each book title is a separate extension. Ooh, another lead just came through. Let's see. This website has a lot of content. I was in the process of setting up a reloaded version of it. It has 6 letters broken and 2 short essay remember words, which apply perfectly to the product. So I really don't want to drop the domain unless apps. Okay, Columbia, one of the easiest things you could do is just put a 404 redirect plugin on the site. If all those pages, those rogue pages, here's a couple things I would suggest. Number one, you can contact the host and ask the host. If it's a decent host, they should be able to go in and clean up those rogue files. A lot of hosts, like the better higher end hosts, will provide that sort of support, because actually any sort of hacked WordPress site on their servers is a security risk for them. So a lot of the times those types of, like if it's a good host, if you're dealing with what is it, HostGator or GoDaddy or something like that, forget it. But if you're dealing with a decent host, then I would contact the host and ask them to do it. Another option, an easy fix for the 404s though, but I would still try to get rid of those rogue files, period. But an easy fix for the 404s is just a simple 404 redirect plugin. So you could use something like 404 to start is one of the plugins. There's a bunch of them. Link Juice Keeper is an old one. I don't know if that still is available, but that'd be another one. There's a bunch of them. You can just do a Google search for 404 redirect plugins and just select one. Okay. I would look for one that was updated recently, or that is, because that means it shows that it's continually updated. But lastly, there's something else that you can do. Now, this is, I always recommend this to clients. This is called security.net. This is all my clients that are running WordPress. We typically, I recommend that they install this. They purchase it. I think it's like $300 a year. But this is a great service because I've got one client in particular that they get hacked about once every 3 or 4 months. I'm not sure why. It's probably a competitor causing that, but security always catches it right away and sends a notification. And then we just submit a support ticket, and they go in and they do all the cleanup. And it's usually done within about 24 hours. And again, they've been hacked. They get hacked about once every 3 or 4 months, and security just all I do is got to submit a support ticket, and it's taken care of. Okay, so this is for, like, if you're doing this for client work, then I would recommend that this is an expense that you pass to the client. It's not something that you pay for. If it's your own site, it depends on how much revenue it's generating for you. Personally, I like having I like easy. And so when anytime that I can do something like this to prevent having to go through all the headache of trying to track down rogue files and remove them myself, or dealing with the hosting company, if you know, to me, it's worth it. So anybody have any other comments on that?
Not here.
Okay. Next, so hopefully that's helpful. Again, if you got a good host, though, a lot of time, like Liquid Web will do it. I know, but they don't have like shared hosting anymore. They just got VPSs and dedicated hosting. But like I use Terry Kyle's, what is it, WPX hosting. I use that a lot now for WordPress sites as well, and that's a really good host. Their support's really good as well. So that's something else that you can contact them. Like if, I mean, I'm just saying, like HostGator and GoDaddy, like those crappy hosts, they're not going to do it for you, or if it's likely they won't. You can always contact them and ask. Okay. All right, next one. It says, hi, what type of schema would you use in the following made-up example? Keyword to rank for cellulite treatment Dallas, but instead to promote the local medical spa, I'd like to promote affiliate offer or ebook, for example. What type of schema do you think would best use to rank for local business environment? I don't know, because I've never spammed local structured data for an affiliate offer. I spammed maps before for an affiliate offer. Years ago, I did that a lot, but I haven't done that in several years now. So anybody has anybody tried to do this? And if so, can you comment?
No, but I mean, I could see it. I could see him branding. It's going to take a lot of work, and I don't know if it's really worth it for an ebook. But you create the brand, whatever the spa is, and what you're looking to do is for people to end up in that ebook offer. And so in that ebook offer, you would the schema that you would add is for whatever that book. I don't know the schema for book. I don't keep track of all of it. There should be. Or the image or whatever. So you would benefit from both, from having the business schema and then schema on the page with the offer. I mean, that's as far as schema, that's how I would pursue this. I don't see any other way that you could do it unless someone else has an idea.
Yeah, and I don't see, he doesn't mention maps in here, but what I would suggest is you know, if you're trying to rank organically, that's one thing. But maps, I wouldn't try to do. And I know, again, he didn't mention maps in this question. But what I'm saying is just for everybody's benefit, I would not recommend trying to do something like this with a map listing, because you need with this, it's a point of sale or a storefront type business, right? And so you wouldn't want to do that. You would quickly get reported, I'm sure, if you were to rank in maps. And again, I know he didn't mention that. I'm stating this for everybody's benefit that may be thinking about doing this. I used to do maps spam for affiliate offers years ago, but I stopped doing it because people started catching on, and they would get reported to Google for storefront offers that didn't show a storefront. In other words, if you hid the address, but it should be a type of business that has a storefront where customers come to the business location. And if that address was hidden, then competitors would report it. Or if you would leave the address showing and it was going to a post office or, you know, a home address or something like that, then oftentimes it would get reported as well. And so I just stopped doing it because it was too much work for it just to be taken down within a few months or a few weeks sometimes. So again, if you were going to do it organically, that's different. And I'm assuming that's what you're going to do. And I don't know what the actual structured data would be for something like that, other than you would still want to create the schema markup or structured data markup for the local business. Like if you're trying to rank it locally, but I wouldn't try to rank in maps. I would just try to rank organically, in which case I would use your made up address or your PO box or whatever it is that you're using as the actual business address in the structured data. But then you would just want to mark up the proper elements on the page. So if you've got a book or an ebook or whatever, I'm sure there's book markup, and you would just mark it up that way. And you could also mark up reviews if you have reviews for the book and that kind of stuff. You could put all those on the page too and use the review markup for that. Okay. Interesting though. Again, I'm not sure I'd put a lot of, it depends on how profitable your offer is for you, like your funnel. And, you know, if there's enough money in it, then it's worth the headache. But I'm not sure from an ebook, but I don't know your entire funnel either. So. Okay, Kevin's up. He says, hey guys, I just set up a GMB for snow removal, still waiting on the postcard, and I set the category to be snow removal, but since I'm using my personal address and don't have access to a second address, how would I switch the GMB listing to contain both snow removal and landscaping categories so that I can rank for both keywords in the maps pack? I'm guessing I'll have to re-verify the listing after making changes. No, Kevin, you don't have to re-verify, and you can have 2 categories. In fact, landscaping and tree service companies are typically the companies that do snow removal in the winter. I know because I've been dealing with tree service businesses for like 7 years now, and they oftentimes, because there's no tree work and landscaping work during the winter, they're very, very, very little anyways. They often make ends meet through snow removal projects, and get contracts with shopping centers and stuff like that for snow removal. So you just add both. What I would do, because remember, I mean, I'm not sure where you live, Kevin, but in my area in Virginia, the vast, it's 3 seasons of tree and or landscaping work, right? It's spring, summer, and fall. And it's only the winter season that it's slow for them. So I would make my primary category landscaping and a secondary category snow removal. And by the way, when you change, if it's already a verified listing, you can go in and change the category or add a category, and it won't ask to at least the majority of the time it's not going. There's always anomalies. There's always exceptions to the rule. So it may trigger a re-verification, but it's unlikely. I know because I've gone in recently and made edits, all kinds of edits to map stuff, and it hasn't triggered a re-verification for me. So now, again, a lot of those listings are more established, so that may be part of it. But I would recommend that you would stick with your landscaping, depending on where you are. If snow removal is the primary service, then you would want to make that your primary category. But if landscaping is the primary service, then make snow removal a secondary category. Does that make sense? Anyways, Google understands that, by the way. It's not like you're the first landscaping company that also does snow removal. So what I'm saying is that Google understands that as part of like a norm for that industry. So it's not going to be out of the ordinary for you to set it up that way. Okay. I am also thinking of changing the business name to contain the words snow and lawn to help further rank in the maps pack. That's not necessary, Kevin. It's really not, and I recommend that you don't. I would keep it to just the brand. Guys, branding is the better way to go for long-term projects, and if you're going to put the effort in, you should try to get them to stick or become long, you should do it with the intent of them being long-term projects. So I personally don't like to stick to keywords in the title unless it's like literally the brand name, and which is normal too, like Joe's Snow and Lawn Service or whatever. I mean, that would make sense. But if you've already got a brand set up, I would just leave it as is. Anybody else?
I agree with you, Bradley, pretty much.
Very good. Dan's up. He says, for stacking press releases that point to latest reviews submitted to Google, how are you linking from one press release to others to achieve the stacking effect? Are you just pointing from latest press release to last one over and over? Also, what do you suggest from experience as far as distribution? Will 5 or gig suffice for distribution, or are there good and bad choices that you suggest from your experience? Okay, Dan, look, I'm not going to go into, I'll talk on a conceptual level about my press release strategy, but I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details because that is reserved for mastermind members and also for the product that we're going to be releasing about this. So I can't reveal all of that here on a Hump Day Hangout, Dan. If you want the skinny details, we have a lead gen accountability group that we are solely focused on this particular strategy inside the mastermind, and we meet every 2 weeks. And there's I think about 8 more people joined yesterday, and we're all doing various forms of the press release strategy for local so that we can test it to death before I release the product. It's going to give me a bigger data set to use and examples and case studies for when we release that product, which will be, in a month or 2 or 3, whatever. So again, I can't reveal it. I can talk on a conceptual level. So that said, let me answer the second question, or the last part of this question first. Will a 5 or gig suffice? I mean, I don't know, because I don't use 5 or gigs for press releases. You'd have to test. I would assume that they're going to be rather shitty.
I said no.
Chris jumped in and said no. And I would assume that they're probably not very good, just because I don't think, I use 5 or gig for like design projects and stuff, but not necessarily for SEO and distribution or writing projects or any of that kind of stuff. You'd have to test, Dan. I use various press release services, guys. We use our SerpSpace service. I use Press Advantage. I also use Press Cable, which is Chris Munch's press distribution service. I also have used newswire.net quite a bit. I actually am recently, I meant to talk to my partners yesterday about EIN Presswire. There's a EIN Presswire is located in Washington, D.C., and they keep emailing me because I do a lot of press release stuff with offers, and they sent me an offer yesterday that looks pretty good for, you get, I guess, I think it's, I can't remember now. It's like 65 press releases for, I can't remember off the top of my head, but EIN Presswire, I'm looking at buying a package from them to test, because what I like about them is they will allow a video embed in the press release, which is pretty rare. So I want to test that for our agency because we're leading with video as the front end product, and I'd like to test that to see if we can get some more push out of embedding a video. So EIN Presswire is another one. There's another one called, let's just check this out. I'll share this one with you real quick too. This is another one that I'm looking at. It's called Press Synergy. I have not tested them yet either. I don't know why their site's not loading. PressSynergy.com. This is another one I've not tested yet, but I'd like to, because they also have like for $210, and they have video embeds as well, and Google Maps embeds, which is the first time I've seen a Google Map embed allowed in a press release. Now, again, I have not tested this yet, but it is on my list to test because you know, I'm doing so much press release work right now. I want to test all the various services. I'm primarily using our SERP-Space service because, well, for me, it doesn't cost me anything. But again, I do use multiple press release services, guys. Why? Because it adds diversity, right? It adds diversity. So go ahead, somebody.
Yeah, no, what I wanted to say is, Dan, if you have like a test property that you want to spam or that you want to test those services, sometimes not that, like, I never experienced this for link building specifically, right? But sometimes you will find diamonds in the rough on Fiverr, like for example, for logo design or for some voiceovers, like people doing a really good job for $5, right? It's usually not for $5. You need to pay a little bit more, but it's just so you know. But in any case, you need to try. Just have in mind that there's a reason why some of these press releases services are that expensive. Press is expensive. If you want to get featured, I don't know, or if you want to get a link from Huffington Post or Inc. or Entrepreneur.com, you can get it. Absolutely. If you have somebody that is selling paid placements, but you need to pay a couple grand for a backlink or for a mention for a feature. You know, if you think about it, maybe it's worth the investment, because if you're an author or if you're really in a competitive niche, maybe it's worth it. Who knows, right? But there's a big difference between a $5 service and a $150, $200, $300, $500 a month service, which is a press release, right? So have that in mind, Dan. I would definitely try it out on something that you wouldn't miss, that you wouldn't care on missing, or that you wouldn't care on having zero results. Yeah, that would be my.
And listen, the press release stuff, and I'll get to the method on a conceptual level, Dan. Again, I'm not going to reveal my strategy right here in a free Hump Day Hangout, guys. I can't do it. It would ruin the product that's coming out and all the research I've done. But by the way, just so you know, this is that EIN Presswire. This is the other one. They've got a deal right now for 12 press releases for $400 that does allow video embeds. Right here, number of embedded videos, you get one in video embed. So it comes out to $33.25 per press release. I'd like to test this. I meant to ask you guys yesterday during our corporate meeting if I could purchase that, get a vote on it, and I forgot. So can we take a vote right now? No, I'm kidding. But anyways, I do want to test this because, like I said, I'm constantly testing new services now, guys. You know, I primarily use ours because it doesn't cost me anything, but it's, you know, there's a benefit to adding diversity to all of your backlink profile, right? So there's a reason for me using multiple press release services, and I'm still looking to find the best results. You know what I mean? But just so you know, with like the recently, one of the more recent projects that I've done with press releases, I took a new Maps listing that I got, you know, as a PO box type setup and everything, and I got it in the Maps pack for about 12 out of my 16 primary keywords. So about 75% of my primary keywords are in the Maps pack, in the 3-pack, with only 4 press releases. No citations, swear, no citations at all. No syndication network. I didn't do a drive stack. I just did 4 press releases, and I got it to pop in the Maps pack for 75% of the primary keywords, which is insane. And so, and I've got multiple examples of getting those kind of results. So when you combine it with the syndication networks and you know, drive stacks and stuff like that, that's when you just, it's just incredible the amount of power. So it's very, very powerful. Now, as far as the stacking part of it, I like to the first one always points to the money site. Like, you know, most PRs will allow you 2 or 3 URLs, right? Links within the press release. So what I do on the first one is I link to the money site, usually just the homepage, using either the brand name of the business or a naked URL. That's it. And then I'll link to the Google Maps page, so like the Maps URL for the Maps listing itself. And then I will usually link to something else, like another property within the branded syndication network. Typically, it's going to be a Facebook page or something like that, you know, as long as the Facebook page is somewhat active. One of the best ways to determine what to link to within the first press release is just go do a brand search for the company that you're doing the work for, right? Or for your own lead gen site. See what Google is listing at the top of the search results on page 1 for that business, that brand search. Okay, you're going to link to the domain itself. You're going to link to the Maps listing, and then just select one that Google is telling you that it deems to be one of the most authoritative sites that you're listed on, right? Just from the Google search. Then, as far as the second press release, I never even touched. It doesn't link to the website. It can. I just typically don't. I mean, what I would recommend is on a second press release that you, if you're going to link to the website, that you would link to like an inner page or blog post or a silo header or something like that, not to the home page. Instead, what I like to do is link to the first press release and then link to, and the first press release, which one do you link to? Once again, use Google. Use Google to do a search on the previous press release's title, and then look at which ones are ranking the best. Or if you were targeting a keyword specifically in that first press release, you can do a keyword search and try to find the highest ranked press release from that first distribution. And what I like to do is link to those. Now, keep in mind, though, guys, a lot of the press release syndication points, right? So the actual sites that they get republished on, those within 6 months, or I think it's 6 months, 180 days, the vast majority of them, those press releases will be eliminated. They'll be terminated, deleted from the site. So they're archived for up to a period of time. Not all, some of the sites will leave them on indefinitely, but a lot of them purge after about 180 days. So if you're going to be using the press release stacking method, which is what I've been doing a lot of, you want to either identify the syndication points that do not purge, or you want to continually stack. In other words, make sure that that's like an ongoing monthly type thing, or every other month or quarterly or something, so that you always have new targets that are going to be pointing to, pointing to target URLs that you're trying to rank. Because again, when they archive, or excuse me, when they purge those, then you're going to lose any. And that's why, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do press release stacks or link building to press releases that have been published where they're going to eventually be purged, because then all that work that you've done at some point is going to just be eliminated just like that. So it's best to identify which, and here's how you do this, Dan. Once you get the press release distribution report from whatever service you're using, you'd have to go through and catalog which sites purge and which ones don't. And it might be, it's going to take some research. It's something you could hire a VA to do and have them identify all of that. And then you could go back through and select which ones you want to build additional links to. Okay. But again, what I like to do is on the second press release is find out the top ranked for either the keyword or for the actual title of the press release. And then start, always reference that in the following or subsequent press release. You want to link to the previous one or to just another press release within that kind of ecosystem that you're building out. And so what you're doing is you're passing relevancy from one to another, and you're linking from authority sites to authority sites that are news sites to news sites. So you don't need a lot of target URLs pointing back to your money site, because you have the original one, right, pointing, and you start to build downstream power. You know what I'm saying? So like, in other words, it's like second and third tier, fourth tier links. Now we have somebody that's been testing this with me, in the mastermind, that he's been doing just multiple press releases linking directly to the money site, and he's been getting similar results that I've been getting. So it's just very, different types of methods. And that's part of the reason why, like I said, we've got a special group in our mastermind right now that we're all kind of collaborating on this and testing various methods and stack methods and all that kind of stuff to try to identify which is the best way to do it, or the most powerful, or at least give variety. And so all of that will be included in the training course that
to sum it all up, we're testing all this shit so you guys can get the best training possible.
That's correct. That's how we do, right?
That's how we do the do we do.
Greg Zoe says, I will be updating and rewriting a lot of content on my site, and I'm certain it will dance all over the rankings the next 3 to 4 weeks. I don't like adding any links when a page or site is bouncing around. However, what about these activities? Number one, should I wait until the dance is over to start adding rank feeder feeds with co-citations? Or are those different enough from actual links that they do not matter? No, you don't have to wait for those, Greg. You don't have to wait for those at all, because those are citation type links. They're not physical links. So you're fine for that. Number two, is it okay to create videos to the YouTube channel and embed them on my site pages during the dance, or wait? Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, that's fine. There might be a difference of opinion from some of my partners here, but in my opinion, that's fine, because that's just adding content, updating content. It's not like an inbound link activity thing. Any comments on that, guys?
No, I would think you're correct. And in fact, it's Google property, and
yep.
Google bot comes in and sees a Google property is going to tunnel right to the YouTube channel. So I think you're pretty safe there also. Yep.
Number three, would you suggest adding new posts to the site that will syndicate out to the syndication network during the dance, or wait until it's over? Thanks. Again, Greg, that's a perfectly normal activity to be blogging on the site, even during structural changes. So in my opinion, I would go for it. I would continue to blog, because that's a perfectly normal activity for a genuine website. There's no reason to stop content marketing just because of some structural changes. You know what I mean? So I would say yes to all of those. It's okay. Armand says, can you briefly go over your stress release strategy? Sure, I do yoga. No, I'm kidding. Can you briefly go over your strategy for using press release and local SEO campaigns? See the previous question from Dan, my previous reply. Okay. Mohammed says, hey guys, I'm currently trying to get a site ranked in Maps. It's slowly getting higher. The business is a service, but the GMB currently has an address. Would hiding the address by making it a service ruin the current momentum? That's a tricky one. I've seen some conflicting information on that in some of the forums and things like that. If you don't have a storefront, I would based upon Google's terms or best practices or whatever, you should hide the address if you don't have a storefront. And that's, Google tells us to do that. However, I have noticed, because of Maps being more and more localized now, that if you have the address showing, you're typically going to rank better it's going to depend on like the searcher and where they're located. But for mobile, especially, having the actual address show is going to make a difference in how your Maps listing appears, as far as like where it ranks in the mobile search results. And that's where I see like having a benefit of having that address being shown, is for that. But outside of that, again, if you don't have a storefront, if customers do not come to the business location, then you're supposed to hide it. And so I always do. And I also always hide it because it's usually a PO box, right? So anybody have any comments on that?
Yeah, I would add that if it's moving and you're getting results and there are no problems, I would say just let it go.
Yeah,
leave it. Don't make any changes while it. I always tell people, if it's dancing, don't touch it. And so if it's moving, it might drop a little bit, move up a little bit more, drop. Move. You don't want to touch it. So you don't want to do anything that's going to disturb Googlebot deciding where you're going to be ranked in the end. Now, once that happens, wherever you end up, then you can decide what your next steps are.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a bad. I mean, again, if it's not a PO box or something, then I would leave it. Like if it's a genuine address for that business, even though like it might be a service area business, that's what they call those, by the way, service area businesses. If it's a service area business and so it's a genuine address, but it's a service area business, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't change it right now, because you're starting to gain some traction, just like Marco said. But if it's a spammed address, so to speak, then I would go ahead and hide it now anyways, because you always run the risk of getting it reported. But again, if it's a real business address, there's no reason to hide it. I mean, Google's best practices says you're supposed to for service area businesses. But as Marco said, I agree with that. I wouldn't mess with it if it's starting to gain traction. Okay. Okay. Columbia says the host you use. So you're using Liquid Web, Columbia, or WPX? Either one of those, because those are the two hosts that I use primarily now. If you're using either one of those, then yeah, you should be fine to just contact the host and to explain to them the problem, give them a sample set of the URLs that are rogue, and they can usually go in and clean it up. Okay.
Can I just, I mean, this isn't a plug or anything, but Liquid Web is the best. I've yet to see anyone outdo Liquid Web as far as customer service, as far as helping you out with problems. If you go in there and you act like a dummy, they'll do everything for you.
Yeah.
And so I go in there and just be myself, and they get everything done. Just do that, because you're going to be paying for a VPS, so the costs are going to be higher. And so they'll help you as much as they can. They'll stay on the phone with you until it's solved, or they'll do chat with you, however it is that you choose to do it. And for that, just for that, it's really worth the price.
Yeah, and you can always, if you're doing client work, you can always, like, especially if you build new sites and stuff for clients, you can charge them for hosting and host everything on your own VPS. And that's how you reduce and eliminate the costs of the VPS from Liquid Web. And you can also turn that into a small profit center too. Because those VPSs, you can put a lot of sites on them, especially if you get a dedicated IP, then it's specific to you, and you don't have a bunch of other shared, you know, that's part of the reason why they got rid of shared hosting. Liquid Web did, so that they could have more control over the IPs and provide a better service to their user base.
Mm-hmm.
Pissed a lot of people off when they switched over, by the way, but we stayed with them anyways.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I was one of the guys that was on the share account. The new one, Deluxe hosting is not that bad actually. It's they're doing a good job for a share account. But yeah, I totally agree with Marco. You know, I used to go a lot for HostGator until it becomes, you know, completely useless in a way that it's like, it's a pain in the ass. And not only that, you're paying cheap, but at the end of the day, you need to do everything by yourself. You're like 1 hour in a queue for some guy to, you know, make a ticket for you because they cannot even solve the thing that you're calling in the first place. So it's like, if you're paying for a service, right? And if you think about it as an entrepreneur or an SEO, if you have an agency, your time is much more valuable than the money that you're paying your hosting, right? Because you need to be focusing on some other things, not troubleshooting your hosting. That's the least you know, important of your problem. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to treat your time as money too, and most importantly, you need to make sure that you have a team on your back. And Liquid Web does a great job, because the guys are really, you can feel that they are really on your team, right? They're not trying to be assholes, or they're not on the company. If you say they're us against them, no, they're really put in your shoes, and you can get a lot more done. You're paying a little bit more, don't get me wrong, but that's the service it's worth it. That's the service you're paying for.
Yep, I totally agree. Guys, I used to go for cheaper hosting as well. I think we all do when we start out, but you learn over time that the cheap hosting costs you so much money, and it's because it first of all, opportunity cost, as Hernan just mentioned. If you're in there dealing with troubles that happen, like you know, like PHP is outdated, right? PHP version is outdated, so plugins or themes don't work correctly, or there's security issues, or like the vast majority of shared hosting overstuff the shit out of their IPs, so that there's way too many sites sharing the bandwidth. And so if any particular site gets hacked, or a DDoS attack or something like that, all the sites on that IP go down. and then you're screwed. And one of the worst ranking signals is a site that's going in and out all the time. So if you put an uptime monitor, I'm not talking, Columbia, I'm not talking to you specifically about this because you said the host we use, so it's probably a good one. I'm talking about other people that may be using cheap hosts. If you put Uptime Robot or some sort of uptime monitor on sites that you have in cheap hosting accounts, you'll get notifications via email or however you set up notifications about how often your sites are going down, that you don't even know it, because unless you're on the site all the time monitoring it, you don't know it. And that is a terrible ranking signal, right? And then not only that, but it's the bad neighborhood type stuff. If you go do a search on your IP from your website, from your host, and then go look at like who's hosted on this IP or whatever, you can just do a Google search and find a bunch of different sites that will show you all the sites that are hosted, the domains hosted on that particular IP. And you'll notice that there's a lot of really shitty, bad neighbors, so to speak, on those IPs. And so you don't want to be blocked in or lumped in, guilty by association, so to speak, with those shitty sites, because it ends up hurting you. It's a bad ranking signal, right? So if you go with a more a better type of managed type host, then you're gonna have a much higher quality of service, as well as like uptime will be better. It's a better ranking signal, all that kind of stuff. Okay. Caesar's up. He says, how would you recommend trying to change the page that a local term is ranking for? For example, I'm working with a local jeweler whose homepage branded as ranking for City Plus Jeweler. He only has one location at the moment, but has plans to open other locations in other cities. Since we're building out local landing pages for each location, I'd like the inner page to rank for the local search terms, not the homepage. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm not the home. So essentially what you're doing is you want to create an inner page for the location that it's currently ranking in. Is that correct? If you're already here's the thing. If you're already ranked in Maps for that, guys, I've gone in for Maps. Organic is different. Organic, you will see some dancing and stuff like that. But for Maps, and I've done this multiple times, anytime I take a single location lead gen site to multiple locations, then I end up either creating an inner page, so it's a location page on the root domain of the original location, or I break them out into subdomains, which is my preferred method for each location. And so you have to go in and change the landing page URL for the Google My Business Maps listing, right? But as far as Maps, I've never had a dance occur from that, which is odd, I think. But for real, I've literally changed the URL entirely from either the homepage originally to either an inner page URL or a subdomain URL, and I've had the Maps listing stick because it's not danced at all, and I've had that happen multiple times. But I know for organic, yeah, you're going to see some dancing. But what I would recommend potentially doing, I would think you could set a canonical for the homepage to point to the inner page, at least for a period of time. While you're getting your other location pages built out and your Google My Business, listings verified and stuff like that, and allow Google some time for it to recognize the canonical and to really identify that inner page as the new location page for that listing, so to speak. And then once you start adding the additional locations in, you could remove that canonical and it shouldn't affect it. It might be some slight dancing, but it should be temporary. Anybody got a comment on that?
No, I agree with you, Bradley.
Okay, Marco?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Just didn't know if you guys had another trick or something. That's what I would do, Caesar. That's a good question, though. But yeah, again, for Maps, usually I haven't seen any dancing for that, especially if it's securely ranked at #1 position, which it sounds like you are. Then I would just go ahead and change the landing page URL and take a look. If you do see if it drops out of the Maps pack or drops down, then set the canonical for the homepage. You can do that using the SEO plugin. Most all SEO plugins have that option now. So you can just go and set a canonical and then point to the inner page and then just give it some time for it to settle. And then you can always remove that canonical after you start setting the other location pages up, and it should resolve. All right, second question is, what's the effective way to get the GMB listing to pop in the 3-pack? DIY, RYS, or Maps Powerhouse? RYS is one of the quickest ways. And like I said, a lot of press release stuff that I've been testing lately has been incredibly effective as well. If you combine those two, I mean, that's a slam dunk. If you can do RY, a drive stack that's built properly, Caesar. So either do it yourself through the new training or just buy it from us at SerpSpace, and we'll, it'll be done correctly. And then if you also incorporate a couple press releases into that, you ought to see some significant movement very quickly. Okay. Maps Powerhouse is good. There's no doubt, but what I do with Maps Powerhouse is I use that as kind of like a secondary. That's not a primary ranking method for me, guys. It's a booster. That's how I use Maps Powerhouse, is more of a booster than a primary ranking method. There may be some others that are using that as a primary method and getting results from it, but me personally, I use that as kind of like almost like a link building method for maps. Okay. But, it's relatively inexpensive. You just use some credits for that. So, combine that along with. But as far as my front end method, it would be definitely a drive stack. And then right now, I'm just crushing it with PRs, press releases. So I would do, at least 2, maybe 3 press releases over the course of the next 30 days and see what happens. I just joined. Let's see. You already got that, Adam. Thank you. Oh, man, we're all good. Just about time, too.
Okay,
Greg
so
says thanks for thought.
Before you go on, let me ask you a question. Some people are on a limited budget and press releases can get expensive. What would you do if you can't do 3, 4 press releases?
A done for you stack.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just, I'm looking at what I was mentioning was if you have the budget for both, I would definitely do both. But if you could only choose one or the other, I would go with the drive stack. My own personal experience with them is that I might not see movement as quickly from the drive stack as I would with the press releases. However, once the movement occurs, it just sticks and it's almost unmovable, which is pretty powerful. Okay. With press releases, like I said, guys, I've noticed with like the one that I was just talking about a minute ago, I popped a brand new maps listing into the 3-pack for 75% of the terms within under 4 weeks, right? With only three or 4 press releases. I have to go back and look at my notes. I think it was 4. But what, I haven't touched it now in probably 5 or 6 weeks. I think the last press release that I published was in the beginning of June, or maybe the middle of June. So it's been about July. So it's been about 6 weeks since I've done any press releases for that. And I've noticed that some of the keywords are starting to slip down to like the C and D position. So even falling out of the 3-pack. So, and in part I left it like that intentionally because I wanted to see if there was like a drop-off period at some point with the press releases. And so I actually have it on the schedule this week. I haven't got to it yet, but to order another 1 or 2 press releases for that particular project or that campaign to see if I can boost those keywords that started to drop back into the 3-pack just from another PR distribution. And so again, that's why we're testing right now. Columbia's got a Liquid Web VPS. See, she listens. She's doing awesome. Everything all of you said is why I bit the bullet to Costco for VPS. The service is really great. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not even dropping affiliate links for Liquid Web. We probably should, but
yeah, we have one.
Yeah,
but
great service.
What I would add, and just to make sure that she goes and does it, is that 404 to 301.
Yep.
Add that plugin and you're good to go. Your 404 problem will disappear.
Yeah, it'll drop out of your 404 errors in Search Console will disappear. It'll take sometimes about a month or so before that you'll start seeing all of them start disappearing from the 404 errors in Search Console, but they will disappear. So, but you definitely want to resolve those rogue files though, because if they've been hacked into the database on your site, you want to get them removed. And so just contact Liquid Web; they'll square it away for you. I know for sure they'll do it. So. All right, guys. Well, we're done here. Thanks for everybody attending. We really appreciate it, guys. Don't forget, RYS Academy is going up at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So if you're interested, now's the time.
This is good, too. I was just in the Facebook group. I'm not going to lie. I switched over there real quick while we were doing this. And there's a thread with Kendrick, and it's like during Hump Day Hangouts for like 20 comments deep. So,
wow. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We don't have Mastermind tomorrow, do we? I don't think we do. I think it's next week.
Let me put in a plug for our done for you services, because I mean they're done up to the current RYS standards, RYS Reloaded. The VAs were trained, they've gone through the process, they know what to do. So as of Monday, any orders coming in are done according to RYS Reloaded standards. We won't redo the previous ones. Sorry, that's not the way this works. As of Monday, anything ordered as of Monday will be done up to those specs. Get your orders in, because yesterday we forgot to set a new price. So while we decide to get a new price in, the price will remain. But I'm going to push for the price to go as high as possible without it just getting away, you know, from people being able to buy them. But you know me, I like to push for high end. I don't like my stuff to sell for nothing. So guys, if you're on the fence as far as RYS Reloaded, go get it. We're in there. We're hammering away. If you don't want to do the work, we have done for you according to RYS Reloaded specs. So there you go. And they're the same price as the old ones. Don't forget.
Nice. Good time to get in there.
Yeah, and if you happen to grab RYS Reloaded before it goes up, on the checkout page you can pick an option to get an RYS stack for half off. You know, as of right now, when we increase the price, it's gonna be even lower, right? But so as of right now, you can get a steep discount on your RYS stack that you can order over the next 30 days. Okay, so you get it today, you can order over the next 30 days, but you need to do that with RYS Reloaded. So just put it out.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for being here. We got to wrap it up. See y'all later. Thanks.
Woo! Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, man.